Dillon Brooks got another technical rescinded. Is Devin Booker even eligible for All-NBA? Plus, we're looking ahead at the schedules of the 6th through the 9th seeds in the Western Conference and talking best case scenario for the PHNX Suns. We are finally in the last week of the regular season. Let's have some fun coming up right after this. Psychos and sickos unite for a rescinded edition of the PHNX Suns Show. Of course, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHNX365 when you sign up and find out why winning is everything at Bet365. Whole squad here, all wearing hats forwards. I'm Eric, that's Gil. We've got Espo, and of course, Steven with the freckled mamba behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Thank you all for joining us. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Packed show for you today, talking Dillon Brooks, Devin Booker. We're looking at future schedules. The Suns still have a chance to get out of the play-in, but what is the best case scenario? And don't think we would get through the last 3 p.m. show of the regular season without doing a little Otle at the end of it. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's have some fun, gentlemen, here on a Monday.
You made it sound like Otle's a drug. You're going to do a little Otle.
We're going to do a little Otle.
We're getting through it. Woo. Welcome to Booker MVP. Spike is right care. The whole crew being in the chat. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Curtis, who just became a member. Let's go, Curtis. MVP, MVP, MVP. Man, we are clicking here on a Monday. You know who's not clicking? The NBA referees. For the 4th time this season, Gil, Dillon Brooks has gotten a technical foul rescinded. The double text between him and Mac McClung during yesterday's game have been rescinded. This is big news, not just because it keeps Dillon Brooks a game away from suspension or a tech away from suspension again, but it means he's available tomorrow night for a revenge game against the Houston Rockets and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, the refs are definitely clicking the my bad button or the our fault, we got it wrong for a 4th time this season button. And the last time we got something rescinded, I was like, nobody's had text rescinded more than Dillon Brooks, and that stands true again. When it happened during the game yesterday, I was like, that's going to get rescinded. That was nothing. It was 2 guys competing, talking a little bit, but the situation didn't need to be de-escalated. Dillon said whatever he said as he was walking off the court, and nothing happened. So I'm glad they rescinded it, but again, as we've said so often, I am mad that they even had to rescind it.
Yeah, at what point does the NBA have to go, you guys obviously have some kind of bias bent against Dillon Brooks, because if you have to rescind technicals this often, it means that you are looking to give this guy a technical on a regular basis. And that's not to say that he is without blame. We know there are times where he deserves to be teed up, but that does not mean that you should errantly be giving those out to guys based on reputation in situations that they're undeserved. It can change a game. I mean, it can change a game in a big way. If it doesn't get rescinded, it could impact multiple games as well. And the fact that the league has had to do this on multiple occasions screams a legitimate problem to me that they have to take a look in the mirror this offseason or before the postseason and go, think about this before you tee this guy up, because this is a terrible look. Because everybody loves to say, oh, it's rigged or whatever. You can't get away from that if you keep screwing up like this.
Yeah, if you have to apologize many a times, that means there's something fundamentally wrong. Whether it be you all are looking at Dillon through the wrong lens, or the protocol and the process in which they're trained to assess things from is flawed, which 2 things can also very much be true, and I imagine it's both in this case. Either way, I beg to just kind of think back. The Suns have been hurt by Dillon being out for games due to suspension because of technical fouls, but they've also been done in just by him not being available at the end of games because of techs as well, correct?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Right.
Guess what you can't get back? Those wins in those moments to go back and replay those games. Something's got to give with this. They have to be much better with this kind of, with the reprimanding. I feel like if there was some consequences for wrongful technical fouls given, there would be a lot more accountability that comes with that, and that's another word that just continues to come up with the state of officiating in the NBA at this moment.
That's the thing. We see officials get evaluated for their opportunities to call playoff games or play in tournament games and the finals and things like that. But I feel like they just get evaluated on like correct calls, correct non-calls. How often are they in a 2-minute report? Are they de-escalating situations? But again, maybe there's some like negative points that need to go in. And as you said, Espo is obviously the couple guys in the league who every year are getting called for more techs than others. And it's different nature of different techs. Like Luka Doncic, most of his techs that he gets are for
They're earned.
It's for what he has to say about calls that he's getting or not getting. But Dillon oftentimes is because he's a guy who's a fiery competitor.
Yeah.
He's getting into it with somebody. He's bumping him off of this. He's telling him this and that. And yes, he does get some for talking with the refs every now and then. But as he talked about, I think he made the comment about James Williams, the ref they call Gucci, like things just go wrong when certain refs are calling this team. And I'm sure everybody has that situation. Everybody has their certain refs they have it out for that they feel have it out for them. But it's just happening too much with Dillon Brooks.
I mean, Dillon Brooks definitely has earned some tax. Like, I mean,
oh yeah, for sure,
for sure,
for sure.
I do think that when you get into these play-in situations or playoff situations, these wrongful tax, even if he's not like suspended for the game or the rest of the game or whatever it is, like you get a free throw and you get the ball and like, I mean, you won by 10 against the Bulls last night. If that was any sort of competent team, that might have ended up costing the Suns the game. So it's unfortunate that we have to sit here. The good news is that it got rescinded, though. He will be available tomorrow night for what is a really big game, Jalen Green's first game against the Rockets. Of course, Dillon Brooks taking on the Rockets this time for the first time with a fully healthy team around him for the Suns. Of course, we'll cover that tomorrow.
I think Spike brings up a good point. That being said, if Brooks gets another tech before the playoffs, then Brian Gregory needs to sit down, have a massive dressing down. He needs to control until season's over. I don't know about Brian Gregory dressing him down, but I think that Dillon Brooks does have to bear some responsibility for the fact that he is right there on the precipice and understand that you can get suspended.
And he did, I think, after when like Oso kind of grabbed him and he got suspended the first time. So we will see. I mean, Dillon Brooks is Dillon Brooks, but can he control it? One thing that feels out of Devin Booker's control is the All-NBA 65 game rule. Now, if all goes right and Devin Booker doesn't miss another game due to injury, he will have played the eligible amount of 65 games this season. But Espo, you passed it along in our Slack this morning where there is this other side of the rule where it's like, hey, he still might not be eligible for all NBA awards.
Yeah, because technically those 2 games that he started in but left, there is a question about whether he played enough time for those games.
The Lakers and Spurs games?
Yeah, to qualify, which if they don't, he's at 64 if he plays the rest of the games, which means ineligible, which this whole thing's getting stupid. You got Luka, who's now petitioning the NBA because he had to miss a couple games because of the birth of his kid in Europe, and that would keep him at the 65. This whole thing is ridiculous because of a minutes thing that Devin might be held out of it, and he'll likely, I assume, appeal if that's the case because he did technically play in the game. So that can cost guys money.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it.
That's why this rule should have not ever surfaced to begin with. Why it needs to be done without as swiftly as possible. If you're going to have it where agents and teams can negotiate certain thresholds to be met as far as postseason awards, and then you have these rules in place to be eligible for these awards that just don't make sense, you need to get them out of here. This is ridiculous. And then next thing you know, there's going to be a rule for that rule that comes with another rule. And at this point, what are we doing?
The hard and fast arbitrary rules, there's no room for nuance at all in them. And I know like the minutes thing within the specific game, I think back to like some of the guys who will come in and just check in to like a Mikal Bridges keep his game streak alive, or LeBron keeping his double-digit streak alive when it still was alive, or guys getting their financial accolades that they need to hit after hitting milestones. But I think that the easy answer is if you want to be workload, to be a statistical leader in the league, you have to play in 70% of the games. That's 58. And if you can do some type of balance of 58 games and minutes played, I think that it wouldn't be a big issue. But 65 just feels like this arbitrary number, and like the facts that kind of come under it of like, oh, well, you had to have done this, and like if it's season ending, then it could be 62. But all of this is just too confusing, and I think like it doesn't apply for some of the rookie awards, but everything else it applies. It's just like I understand what they were going for, but they missed the mark.
Why don't we do it like school? I mean, my daughter's been out with surgery. You guys know that. You need a doctor's note with that kind of stuff. How about a doctor has to sign an official document that this guy is legitimately injured, which technically could be a legal violation if you don't sign it. I'm sure there's HIPAA laws that avoid
Absolutely.
that, but like, give me some proof that you're injured. Wheel his old bones up here and prove it to me.
So here's the question before we hit our first break here and dive into the look for the rest of the schedule. Hopefully with Devin Booker playing all the games, if he is eligible for All-NBA, is Devin Booker on one of the 3 teams?
Yes, he should be a third team All-NBA. He's had that good of a season. And then you calculate in the guys that won't make it. And yeah, you're basically into the top 22 guys of the year, I think, at that point. Yeah, Devin Booker is at minimum a third team.
Answer is yes as well, because Steven, you even said at this point that Devin Booker's played like a top 8 player in the league. So it's the simple of a question is, has Devin Booker been a top 6 guard in the league this year? And I know it's positionless now. So has he been top 8 at his position this year? And then you start thinking about Anthony Edwards might not qualify. Luka Doncic might not qualify. Steph Curry won't qualify.
Cade Cunningham
won't qualify. There's so many other guards that he just jumps above, given his availability. But then you also talk about the body of work. It's not just a formality or a reason that he got in because guys couldn't make it. It's because he's been playing so well this year. So I think he's an All-NBA player.
He definitely is.
That's it. Point blank, period.
Factual.
Well, and I think the unfortunate part, and maybe this doesn't matter because as we saw with All-Star, Book will kind of almost naturally get this beneficiary of like, hey, you've been here before, you've done this before, where this year maybe he would have been more on the fence for an All-Star than other years where it felt like he was a surefire All-Star and he didn't get it, but because he's, I don't want to say an elder statesman, but a statesman of the league right now, been in the league for a decade plus and been very good for a majority of that. I wonder if it's just automatically, okay, the Suns are a surprising team, Book's going to get it. I think the argument for it against, and I think he should make it, I think he's clearly an All-NBA player. I think, unfortunately, when it comes to voting, there is this recent push for like, okay, what have you done for me lately? And if the Suns flipped maybe their December and their January with their March and their February, it might be like, wow, the Suns are ending hot. They've completely surged to almost be able to be a playoff team. Like, and Devin Booker has been the best with that. He's, scoring points with free throws. He's getting it without. He's getting his teammates involved. Like, I hope he gets the credit for what he's done over the entirety of the season, even though the Suns have not been as good as they were for the first part of it.
Yeah, I think if you look at Booker's individual numbers too down the stretch, I think voters can look at that as well and realize the impact that he's had individually, which I feel like All-NBA is a little bit more individual, than an MVP or something like that. So I think there's an individual argument even in these last few months for him.
What have you done for me lately made me think about a couple other contenders. Like LaMelo Ball wasn't an all-star, but the Hornets have been so hot for so long. That is another guard who probably is going to get some All-NBA consideration. There are probably some other guys like that as well that weren't in the All-Star game, but they finished the season in a strong.
And it is positionless now, though, right?
Yeah, it is positionless. So.
Yeah, so I think with Book, the interesting part is just like, what does this do for then his like legacy kind of going forward as well. We'll take a break here in a second. Before we hit a break, let's go ahead and look forward at the schedules for the remaining teams here through the 6th and the 9th seed before we get to our best case scenarios, just to kind of let everybody be aware. This is the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th seed, the play-in and playoff push, the remaining schedule, starting with the 6th-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves, now not locked into 6 yet, even though they have a couple game lead on the Suns. They do play against the Pacers tomorrow. That being said, no Jaden McDaniels, no Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards' status for the rest of the season is up in the air as he deals with what Steph Curry's been dealing with in a runner's knee. Then they take on the Orlando Magic on the second night of a back-to-back, then the Houston Rockets 2 days after that. Then they end the season on Sunday against the New Orleans Pelicans. When you look at the Timberwolves kind of going forward, do you think it is possible for them to spiral out here at the end of the regular season, giving the Suns an opportunity to snag a playoff spot?
We'll know tomorrow. I think if they beat Indy, that pretty much shuts the door. They'd have to lose out. The Suns would have to win out in that case if they beat Indy. If they lose to Indy, all bets are off. You're basically there's a chance at that point, but I think that chance is so slim because you didn't take care of your own business.
I get a weird feeling that it might happen. We see weird stuff like this happen
true.
in sports a lot. Like I think last year it happened with the Mets in baseball, and then it happened in NFL with the Panthers making the playoffs off of like a formality. Like the Suns getting it would be very poetic and very on brand if the Suns flip into 6 because of a cold finish to the season from the Timberwolves and a Colin Gillespie game winner from back in November would be the difference in that. I could see that happening.
That kind of sounds like the way this season's gone a little bit, huh?
Definitely that. Yeah, there's a chance. I've been saying that for weeks. Even with all of the shifting and all of that stuff that's been going on, there's still a chance. And until there isn't a chance left, you got to see about it.
Yeah, the only thing is we have to look ahead at the Suns' schedule and make sure they take care of business. Plus, who's going to maybe get that 8th seed or that 9th seed? We'll also look at the Clippers and the Trailblazers' schedule, and we'll do it on the other side of our first break. Today, it's not as hot. Tomorrow, it's probably going to be very hot, and it's going to be hot for a long time. And if you are tired of seeing spikes in your energy bill during the summer months here in Arizona, well, our friends over at APS, they have a solution for you. I'm talking about budget billing, where they take your payment and average it out over the entire year so you pay around the same amount every single month. That way, it's easier to budget, easier to save, easier to predict what you're going to be spending every single month, even when the temperatures go up to 100, 120, sorry, Gil, 125 degrees. That's right, with budget billing over at APS. They also have rate plan options where you can look back, of course, at your last couple of months of spending and decide what rate plan would actually have you saving the most money and choose that going forward. At the end of the day, APS is here for you to help you save money because we know that every dollar counts now in 2026. So find all your options to manage your bill at aps.com/let's talk. That's aps.com/let's talk.
It's Suns playoff season, Stephen, Mercury season right around the corner. Things heating up there, and lots of transactions are going to happen in the W. And if you got some transactions you need to make, you got to do it with our friends at Mountain America Credit Union. We can get you that Mercury card. It can be a debit card. It can be a credit card. We can get that Suns card, a credit card or debit card. But we have to get it with the My Style checking account. I got to recommend that because you're going to get so many perks when it comes to it, and you already need a checking account. So when you do it with My Style checking account from Mountain America Credit Union, you're getting restaurant deals. You're getting mobile phone protection. People have broken that thing before. Telehealth access, identity protection. Not anybody wants to be me, but you and Gil and Eric, maybe they want to be you guys. Loan rate discounts, offers on travel and events, because you guys like to go do things. I don't. I just sit at home. And so much more. Make My Style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle. Insured by NCUA. Membership required. Based on eligibility, some benefits require a no-cost registration activation. Terms and exclusions apply.
Thank you all for hanging out with us here on a Monday. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll talk to you more about our event on Sunday later in the show. But first, how do we get to Sunday? Let's continue to look through the rest of the schedules for the play-in teams. Let's go to the Phoenix Suns. Obviously, we know, as they have been since basically November, in that 7th seed, 43-35 with 4 games remaining in the season. We've talked about tomorrow's game against the Houston Rockets. They also have a back-to-back playing the Dallas Mavericks on the second night of it on Wednesday. Then against the 10th, they take on the struggling Los Angeles Lakers, with that game looking more and more winnable with their injury status. And then, of course, their season finale on the 12th against the Oklahoma City Thunder. The first question was, does Minnesota lose out and leave the door open for the Suns? Steven, the question on the other side is it possible the Suns could end the season 4 games in a row here this week?
Yeah, it's very possible. In fact, I beg to differ. They need to. Now, obviously, like we said, it's more so about them just getting their bearings, finding their footing, establishing things, which we'll get to more a little bit later. But if you have the chance to go and win these 4 games, that's the type of positive momentum that you want to be carrying. Because in my eye, if you're winning 4, or obviously they won yesterday, so if you're winning 5 games in a row, that means you're playing games on the terms that you need to, which will replicate to you finding success in the postseason. So if you do that, you get this. If you don't do that, or you do it partially, that's where a little bit of variance comes into play as far as assessing their postseason success.
Yeah, and what are we? We're one Clippers loss or one Suns away from win from being locked in the 7th.
Yep.
So even if you go 0-4, it's a pretty good chance that you're going to wind up in that 7 spot. So
Yeah, I think it's important. You talk about these tests. Obviously the Rockets are a team that are trying to figure some things out. They've had their ups and downs. Dallas has Cooper Flag, who's been playing great basketball as of late. Had
Pretty
45
good.
last night.
Mhm.
But those last two games could be very winnable with the Lakers and their injury adversity that they're dealing with, and the fact that the Thunder, you're probably playing the second half of their roster, which is still a playoff team.
You might be playing the bottom third.
You
of
might
their
be playing the
roster.
bottom third of their roster at that point. Like
Which is still pretty good.
It's
Yes.
still pretty good.
That's
Like
not a cakewalk at
a
all.
lot of like young guys, a lot of like two-way guys going to get a lot of minutes in that game if they have the number one seed sewn up at that point. So ultimately, it comes down to you playing basketball the right way, playing in your terms, as you said, Steven. Do you feel good about the momentum that you built going into next week, whether it's the play-in tournament or by some chance you're just waiting and fast-forwarding until next weekend in game one of the playoffs?
Is tomorrow night's game with a fully healthy, presumably, Suns team going up against a Rockets team here who's also fighting for some seeding, is that the biggest game of the season?
No, because the stakes are pretty low. I think it might be your best test between now and the play-in to show who you're going to be and what you want to do. There's obviously personal beef that's going to be going on there. Who knows? So that brings up the intensity of it as well. I think it's your best test between now and the play-in, but definitely not the most important game.
Would you say the Wolves game on that trip a couple weeks ago was the most important game of the season?
Yeah.
Well, let's flush that.
Yeah, that's in the middle.
It wasn't great.
That was the one that changed the trajectory and essentially locked you in.
I just think the interesting one with this Rockets game is that this is the first time you'll be facing the Rockets with Jalen Green. It's, your first real, I feel like, test fully healthy because, you played Charlotte on the road. That was big. That was like your first game back with Mark Williams back. Now it's okay. This is his third game. Dillon Brooks has been in for about a week. Like Jalen Green is healthy and playing. Devin Booker is healthy and playing. Like, knock on wood. You just change your starting lineup. Like to me, tomorrow night feels like this big, who are you moment for the Suns. And so if it's not the biggest, I think it's one of, and again, a good test going into the play-in. For the rest of the play-in, though, let's take a look at those Los Angeles Clippers and those Portland Trailblazers, both at 40 and 38. And if you notice, they have a similarity in those final 4 games of the season. On April 10th, the Portland Trailblazers and the Los Angeles Clippers will be facing off against each other. There is a chance that determines who will be playing the Phoenix Suns in the 7-8 matchup. So certainly a game that you're going to be wanting to keep your eyes on, as the Suns are also facing the Lakers on that day. Besides that, the Clippers are facing the Mavericks tomorrow, the Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back at home, and then of course the Trailblazers, then the Warriors on the 12th. As far as the Trailblazers go, they take on the Nuggets tonight on the road, and then on the 8th they take on San Antonio on the road, then the Clippers and the Kings. So equally difficult schedule. It feels like Portland probably has the tougher draw getting the Nuggets and the Spurs, but LA walks out with OKC. Just a gut check for you guys. Given their next 4 games, then playing each other, who do we feel like ends up in that 8th seed and who ends up being in the 9th?
I think the Clippers wind up in the 8th. Just, I don't know. It's tough though, because you look at it and the Warriors technically still could be playing for something maybe and trying to get Steph up to speed in their final game, where Portland's playing the Kings, which we know who the Kings are. It probably all just does come down to that game head to head on the 10th between the two of them, and whoever gets that win gets it, because they play a very similar schedule. So I think it's just a coin toss right now who wins that game.
My gut says it's the Clippers, but again, kind of aligned with what I was saying with the Suns and their push for 6th not being closed yet. I just feel like weird stuff is going to happen on the back end of this playoff picture, and I can see the Clippers just dropping one that they didn't expect to lose, whether it's that Mavericks game and Cooper Flag continues what he's doing as of late, or just losing that Warriors game because Steph Curry's trying to get in rhythm and he just has a game where he hits 6 or 8 threes in the first half of a game. And the other part that it reminds me is that you look at these teams and they're all susceptible to shortcomings like that. As scary as they are, and we'll preview these matchups when we get closer to them, they're in the play-in tournament for a reason. So these teams definitely have some flaws that oftentimes show themselves in games like this, and you need to get a win, and they don't get it. And the Suns are a victim of that as well.
Well, last Tuesday, the Blazers beat the Clippers 114-104. That might be something to keep in mind with that matchup. And to your point, it's probably going to be relevant based on who's going to end up having a chance at getting that 8th seed. So I would keep that in mind. And my gut says the Clippers, but I watched Steph Curry play basketball yesterday. That's not a man that looks like he's rusty at all. That second half in particular.
I thought he hit that game winner too.
I just knew it was going down. It looked like a green release to me.
So you mentioned the Warriors. The Warriors still technically could get into the 9th seed. The NBA put out this postseason seeding possibilities. The Clippers and Trailblazers, it is still possible for them to get to the 7th seed and to jump the Phoenix Suns. So if the Suns do the opposite of what we were talking about, which is end up maybe losing 3 out of their 4 games and one of Portland or LA goes on a run and wins all 4, you're going to be cutting it pretty close to getting home court.
I believe you essentially have to lose out. They have to win.
And they have to win out. Basically the same. It's like the same thing with the Timberwolves with the 6th seed and the Suns with the Suns and them. So it's possible with both of them, but realistically, you're going to be having them fight for that 8th and that 9th seed. So what's the best case scenario for the Phoenix Suns this season? Not just for the end of the regular season, but big picture for the rest of it. I want everybody who's in chat right now, what we're going to do is on the other side of this break, we are all going to give our best case scenarios. I want you to drop your best case scenarios in chat. We're going to read some of those and go through all of ours. And let's get a little delusional, huh? That's what the end of the regular season is for. A little delusion on the other side of our second break. It's always a great time out at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, and they have the Vegas residency going until the end of the month, and also going until the end of the month, of course, is their fabulous Corvette giveaway. That's 4 casinos, 4 Corvettes, 4 chances to win big. Wild Horse Pass, Vequiva, Lone Butte, Santan Mountain, Corvettes everywhere. Of course, we've seen the blue Corvette over at Wild Horse Pass, and yeah, it looks good. Here's how you can qualify to win that good-looking Corvette. Friday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. hourly drawing for free bonus plays or a finale entry. Tuesdays and Saturdays, earn 4 times entries when you play with the card, and Thursdays from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. hot seat finale qualifiers playing with the card for your shot. And of course, at the end of this month, the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th of April, they're giving away Corvettes. For more information, visit playatgila.com. Don't miss your chance to accelerate into luxury, play, earn, and win at any of their 4 casino locations, and join PHNX Suns at the end of this week for our watch party over at Wild Horse Pass on the 12th over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos.
Gil, in basketball, what's more than 2?
3.
That's right. And then with our friends over at the Arizona Lottery, you can play triple theme games because they are triple the fun, Gil. And I got to tell you, I played the triple red sevens the other day. I have a lot of fun with these scratchers tickets. I don't know if you guys have dabbled in it, but it is unbelievable. You got to be 21 or over. I know you guys are. I mean, you look young, but you're not that young. You too, Eric.
You too.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Notoriously 12.
I look twice as 21, which makes sense. But you can play these 3 exciting triple theme games from the Arizona Lottery. Triple red sevens, like I told you about. Triple cash payout scratchers for the chance to win top prizes of $100,000. Who could not use 6 figures right now in this economy? And then triple red sevens fast play. I did this one fun as well. It's a progressive jackpot starting at $30,000. You can find all 3 tickets at a retailer location near you, like our friends at Circle K.
Let's get delusional here on PHNX Suns, including Steven. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop your best case scenarios in the chat. We're going to get to those soon, but gentlemen, do you care if I kick off the delusion? Is that okay?
It's your corner.
It feels fitting, right? Yeah. It feels fitting for me to kick off the delusion. But I don't know if my best case scenario is that delusional, if I'm going to be honest with you. Now, it is obviously the best case scenario, so I would say it's not the most realistic, but I don't think best case scenario for me personally, I don't see them getting that 6th seed, right? I think too much has to go right for them, too much has to go wrong for the Timberwolves. They can get closer maybe. I don't think they get the 6th seed. So my best case scenario still has them falling into the 7th seed, winning their first play-in game against either the Clippers or the Trailblazers in convincing fashion, proving that yes, they are the best team in that bottom 4, securing a playoff spot against the San Antonio Spurs, led by Victor Wembanyama, who's never played in the playoffs before, a guy that the Suns have guarded very well this season, a team the Suns have a 500 record against this season.
I want to cut you off, because they have not guarded that man all that well this season. They had one game where they guarded.
Film study on it.
Yeah, and when was that? That was in November. That was before Thanksgiving.
But here's the thing, Steven.
That was a long time ago, because how many teams have tried that particular game plan against this man, and it just has not worked because he's grown and adapted to it.
He's very good.
I just want to make sure with our delusion, or with your delusion, they were also providing context.
I'm not saying they're
Because
going to hold Wemby to 0 points.
No, of course, but then I'm also not going to hold them to 9 like they did the
but
first time they played
I think
either.
that they've proven that they are well equipped to try and stop him. Now, maybe they can't. We saw it in that last game against San Antonio. Victor Wembanyama just goes and hits a game winner. But even in that game, the Suns won the Wemby minutes. Where they lost that game were the non-Wemby minutes when Luke Cornett was on the floor. So, look, Victor Wembanyama has a chance to be the greatest player of all time, and he's currently one of the best players in the world. He could single-handedly win you a playoff series. But in my best-case scenario, you go up against these San Antonio Spurs, which that core has not been in the playoffs yet. You know, they do have a Harrison Barnes who's been in the playoffs. Aaron Fox has been around the NBA for a long time, hasn't done a lot in the playoffs.
Disrespect Luke Cornett.
Luke Cornett, NBA champion Luke Cornett, right? So, you know, you certainly have a dangerous team at the 2 seed, but the Suns find a way to click. Devin Booker, Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green really figure it out offensively. We see that same defense the Suns tapped into where they were top 5 in the league at a certain point as the calendar turned into 2026, and you win a hard-fought 7-game series, shocking the Spurs in the first round, end up losing in the second round after making a statement. That, to me, is absolute best-case scenario. It's certainly not realistic, but I think that if we're talking what is the absolute ceiling for this team based off of what we've seen this season against that opponent, I think they could do it.
You want real delusion?
Yeah, give me real delusion.
Because I didn't take the meds this morning. I said, we're doing a delusion show. I said, leave the meds on the counter this morning. We're going all in. Here's your delusion. The Minnesota Timberwolves, remember, they're the Minnesota Timberwolves and what their history is. They lose out. The Suns go 3-1. The Suns get the 6th seed. Keep up with me here. The Lakers find a way to stave off the Nuggets. The Lakers are in the 3 seed. The Suns are in the 6 seed. The Suns feast on the carcass of the Lakers in that 3 seed. They move to the second round, and then we go 4-4-4, and you win the championship.
Okay,
all right. So up until that,
delusion is not a strong enough word.
But there is a slim Doctor Strange type 1 out of 16 million billion opportunity that it plays out that way, and you get lucky because Minnesota implodes. You get lucky somehow the Lakers find a way to cling on to that 3rd seed, and then you take care of business on an injured team.
Was 77 involved with your first round matchup?
No, he's stuck in Europe, still getting whatever.
You didn't include that transportation issues. Okay.
He's still getting Frankenstein over in Europe, trying to get some cadaver hammy or whatever he's trying to get done, so he doesn't show up for round 1.
I mean, the best case scenario is finding a way to play the Lakers in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, Luka's a bad man and he's haunted this franchise. Who knows if he's fully healthy? Austin Reeves, who knows if he's going to be fully healthy? And you've had success against the Lakers this year, and I know they've turned a little bit of a leaf defensively. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'd much rather face DeAndre Ayton than Victor Wembanyama at a big man position. So obviously, Espo, you took delusion and kicked it into high gear. But if they could find a way to play the Lakers, Gil, that would be pretty favorable.
It would be, and that was what I had as the absolute best case scenario. And again, it ties into the Lakers somehow holding on to 3rd. Lost last night to the Mavericks. They're figuring things out. But if you can get to 6 somehow, and my bad, Sean, I was talking about last year's Mets, not 2024. That felt like so long ago, I forgot that even happened. But we see teams implode at the end of seasons all the time. So could that happen with the Timberwolves, given the injury adversity that they're dealing with, both Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels? There's a world in which they don't play in any of their last 4 games. I mean, they could play in 3 of the last 4, but we know they're not playing tomorrow. So as long as the door is open, it's open. And it's open until it's not open anymore. So I'd expect the Suns team to somehow maybe back their way into that if it were to work that way. But the more realistic best case scenario I was thinking about with this team is it clicks. That's it. Like it just clicks. Like the stuff that we talked about, all the things that they haven't been able to piece together, playing 48 minutes of basketball, Jalen, Devin, and Dillon figuring it out, and everybody else kind of getting in where they fit in around them. They figure it out over these last 4 games, and you're feeling really, really good about where this team is going into the play-in tournament. Doesn't matter who they're playing against, because if you had asked us in January, do you care if the Suns play in a play-in tournament, we wouldn't care. And now we've talked so much about matchups and who's scary and this and that and the third because of how the Suns have played as of late. But if they can get back to the way they were playing in January, we feel confident with whoever, and we feel confident whoever they advance to play except the Thunder in the first round of the NBA playoffs.
No one should feel confident.
Nobody should feel confident against the Thunder. But I do think that experience thing could allow you to maybe push a series with the Spurs to 6 or 7 games. I don't think that it would be like that, but you could see Devin Booker kind of maybe tap into his playoff mode, and they do what the Warriors did to the Kings a couple of years ago in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't do too well with delusion. So I have nothing for you on that front.
Oh, come on.
Oh, shocker. Oh, my God. Steven didn't do that. No, what I will do is what I kind of desire to see from the team, and that's kind of akin to what Gil said, fortifying your pillars of play, getting back in alignment fully with said things, carrying that momentum into the playoffs, and then just rolling the dice as the 7th seed, meaning that you do handle your business to end the season, handle your business in the play-in, and then you get your reward of playing the Spurs in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, Steven, if you're anchoring me a little bit more to reality, and we'll act like the
Steven
Mets
said, "Here's the Meds."
are back in the system. Haywood Highsmith coming back over the next 4 games would be a best case scenario. Finding your defense like you're talking about, and winning the first playing game. That's best case scenario in a real world.
Yeah.
But I like living in a delusional world. Bring on the Lakers.
I mean, Steven, do you think best case scenario this team can win a playoff series?
I think that is best case scenario, yeah.
It's
I'm still not guaranteed that they can beat the Spurs in a series.
Sure.
But what I think they can do is push them to the brink of elimination.
Yeah.
Things happen in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm not wishing injury on anybody, but we've seen injuries happen that alter the course of a series. Guys aren't available. We've seen upsets happen like that. I mean, nobody would have said that the Heat, when they lost their first play-in tournament game and blew a lead, would go on and make the finals, let alone beat the number 1 seed Bucks in the first round of playoffs. We literally have no idea. Like, Giannis, somebody takes charge on Giannis and he's available for half the series. Like, things happen, and you never want to say, "Oh, I hope it's because of an injury," but like, things happen. Just as it can go against you, it can go in your favor. And best case scenario, you do win a playoff series. You go on a run. Things happen.
And the Suns owe the Spurs one of those kind of series after all these years.
The basketball gods owe us a little something, to be honest with you. We've paid our basketball debts. Okay, let's get a little basketball payment plan.
We need to refi those things right now. Wait, come on.
But
There's still one thing that's in the way of that, and that one thing is still lingering on the books without having played a game for the Suns.
Brad
we're talking
DeVille?
best case scenario. I will say this: the best case scenario for
So
winning.
just
a
saying the
playoff
debts
series-
are not paid.
Sure.
There's still a
That's
balance.
$100 million
There's still a balance, dude. Yeah,
Those are debts that Bradley Beal needs to pay. Okay.
Those are debts that Matt Ishbia is going to be paying for the
has to
next
pay
5
them.
years.
Exactly.
Look, I will say the dreams of winning a first round series get so slimmer. Word to Iguodaro if they drop to the 8th seed and they lose that first game, kind of like you said the Heat did, obviously, and then we're able to bounce back and jump in as the 8th seed. I think the OKC is a little bit of a different animal as far as the 1-8 matchup. Now, of course, you've beaten OKC this year. They've also handed you your worst loss in franchise history, and they've beaten you 3 other times besides that. So you definitely want to find a way to play the Lakers. I think that's best case. I think Spurs is the most realistic best case scenario, but we've seen this team over and over and over again this season shock people, play above what they expected to be, and none of that was fully healthy. Now, I know right now, we talked about it yesterday, and a lot of people are pretty disappointed by their recent play, especially when they've gotten everybody back healthy. But if they can tap into what they had before with the added talent boost of a Jalen Green, who hopefully, like you guys talked about in our video on PHNX Sports right now, goes into the playoffs with something ready to prove. Devin Booker, who we know is a known playoff riser. Dillon Brooks has risen to every single big moment this season, plus this incredible depth that almost frustrates us to a certain point about how many players you have that are playable. There is a chance that this team can go out there and that they can make some noise. So that to me is what I hope for. I expect them to make the playoffs. Best case, go win yourself a series. That's what we think, though. What do you guys think? Let's read some of the best case scenarios here, and then we'll hit a break and read some more of them. Let's start with Kara. Kara, who's getting ready for the Currency concert. Enjoy the Currency concert, Kara. Yes, Gil will be there as well. She says, we get the 6th seed, play and beat the Lakers, and make it to the 2nd round.
Kara's not on her meds either. Love it, Kara. Love it.
I mean, got to be unmedicated at the Currency concert. Ricky says,
self-medicated, I believe.
I see the 2nd round as the ceiling, but just build the chemistry and you have a great offseason, and next year, true contention can be attained.
I agree so much with that. Like, I think we've talked about the importance, obviously, just getting to the playoffs, but the reps that these guys are going to get, Jalen Green adding 5 or 6 more playoff games under his belt. Ryan Dunn, Rasheer Fleming, depending on where they are in the rotation. But these guys who've never seen the playoffs before, seeing the playoffs will mean so much when they see it again, and the leverage is even higher. You're not necessarily playing with found money. Hopefully next time around, you're a higher seed or something like that. This is very important. And you see teams, a big building block for any team that's trying to be something down the line.
Proximo AZ, thanks Proximo, says, best case is Suns shock the world and due to our matchup, take out the Spurs. Then Jokic gets hurt, they squeeze by in the second round, and then OKC crushes them in the Western Conference Finals. I mean, if Jokic gets hurt and you find a way to beat the Spurs, I do think the Western Conference Finals is somehow on the table if you stay healthy.
Yeah.
To be fair, too, right? Like, it could be a Lakers, Timberwolves 3, well, UV6, never mind. Well, no, it could be a Lakers Timberwolves 3-6 matchup, and you play the winner of that series instead of if you beat the Spurs.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, the crazy thing too is those are two franchises that cosmically you do owe one to. So Spurs.
How many do we owe get cosmically to?
I mean,
The Lakers, the Spurs,
Everybody.
the Nuggets.
Everybody, essentially. I mean, even OKC, if you count them as Seattle, they cosmically were owed a few of those too.
Yeah, it's man. Craig says best case is that we find our early season form, energy, and shot making and sustain it all the way to the finals.
Woo!
Who knocks off OKC before?
I guess that's the thing is, well, okay, and I don't think that there's any world that the Suns beat OKC. Maybe a game in a series. If the Suns are, fully healthy and make it somehow to the Western Conference Finals, it means they're playing good enough ball to be competing with anybody. So I don't think they'd win, but
I mean, when they play their best, they can go get a game against anybody.
yeah, but you need 4.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Correct.
Same thing.
Not enough.
Same thing again in this world, right? If Denver's 4, I think they're probably the best team equipped to beat OKC in the series. So if they knock them off in the second round as a 4 seed or a 5 seed, then maybe something crazy could happen.
Go do your research. 1976 playoffs. Suns were 42 and 40.
Mm-hmm.
They wind up winning the first 2 rounds. They're facing the defending champion Golden State Warriors. They beat the Golden State Warriors and they go to the finals.
This was in black and white.
It was. It was
five game
delayed.
first round series.
Tape
Black and
delayed.
white. Okay.
Yeah.
I will say, and maybe this is kind of the fan in me holding on to this delusional confidence of if any team can capture a moment and make a run, we've seen them do extraordinary things that nobody expected them to be in sports all the time. There seems like once a year, there's just this insane underdog story.
The Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, the Charlotte. I think the Suns winning a little bit in these Western Conference playoffs feels like what could be a really fun big story. It doesn't seem realistic, but I'm certainly not putting it at 0% chance.
We're all ready to get hurt again, Eric.
Oh, I've been ready to get hurt.
I'm there with you.
That Hornets Suns Finals is gonna go.
Oh my
crazy.
God.
The Gill Bowl.
The Gill Bowl? Let's go.
I think there's a better chance of a Panthers-Cardinals Super Bowl.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think that's true.
I mean, that one.
I don't think that's
Hard
true.
disagree on that.
Whatever. We're gonna redo the list.
If
We'll
they
work.
It's
That's what I meant. Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Toby says keep the 7 seed, win the play-in, and then win the first round in 6 or 7 games. Exactly, Espo. I like that, Toby. That feels like, I mean, I guess the words realistic best case scenario, which I know you said earlier, is a little bit of an oxymoron. But that does feel like, okay, we're going to hold some delusional confidence. We can do this without going too far off of the pills and saying they're going to go 4-4-4-4 and win it all. Gmon says, best case, starting Haywood at the 4 and then benching Royce and Oso for G.
Who?
Yeah. So,
We need some clarity on that.
yeah, for
G
G for
Money.
Grayson Allen.
I hope not.
Haywood at the 4.
Is G Money Grayson?
I'm not mad at everything before the first period, but benching Royce and Oso for G,
Only for one guy.
Well,
That's a bold
let's
strategy.
look,
I got
Royce and Oso
questions.
got benched last game.
I got question marks.
Like they were already benched. Royce and Oso came off the bench last game. So your best case scenario is already going on. How are we feeling? Does it feel like now that we've talked through some delusional confidence that maybe it feels a little more attainable besides Steven? Come on, back me up here, guys. Come on.
I want to. I really do. I genuinely like my thought of like I really could see a Sun Spurs series going 7 if that is what we get. And the thing we say it gets corny is cheesy, but anything can happen
Oh
in
yeah,
a game 7.
one little thing can shift one
I
game.
mean, think about the Heat Celtics a couple years ago. Celtics are about to be the first team to ever come back from 3-0. And again, things happen. Jason Tatum sprains his ankle a couple minutes into the game, and the Heat might have lost that game and like blown that series, but Celtics were down their best player. And things just happen. Guys get in foul trouble. Like anything could happen in a game 7 type situation. So you can make it happen. But I did like the idea of winning that series in 6 games. Could you imagine winning a series here as a lower seed? Goodness. That's why we believe Warriors.
I love it.
Like,
Gmon said bench them for good.
Oh.
And then also follows up and says Royce and Oso are liabilities on both ends. They do not need to play. Oso Guidaro has been one of the best defensive players on this team, if not the best defensive player on this team.
I mean,
this season.
Everybody has something that's a weakness. I don't
Sure.
think
Free throw shooting. He's the second worst free throw shooter in the league, but yeah. Amadeo says best case scenario. Sorry, Amadeo. Jalen Green dunks on Kevin Durant, game winner to have Suns sweep Rockets and go to the Western Conference semifinals. If they play the Rockets, it would be in the semifinals, right? Or would it have to be in the Western Conference?
If the Rockets
finals?
are 4 or 5, then they probably wouldn't be to the conference finals.
Gotcha. Well, it would be nice. Maybe we get a Jalen Green poster on Kevin Durant tomorrow night, and then we can kick that off. Well, what we're going to do here is on the other side of our break, we're going to read your super chat, Richard, and then the long-awaited return of Otle. Our regular season finale for Otle is upon us, and we're going to get to it on the other side of our final break. We made it. The best part of the sports calendar is finally here. The next few months are a sports fan's fever dream, which means there's no better time to be checking out Bet365. If you're not quite convinced yet, consider this. Just in time for the biggest games, they're now offering their biggest promos. Bet 10, get 365. They don't call it Bet365 for nothing. When any new Bet365 user signs up and makes a $10 bet, they'll get $365 in bonus bets, win or lose. It is the perfect way to get into these big games now that we are in April. Bet365, where winning is everything. Download the app today. Use code PHNX365 at sign up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP-AZ. Please gamble responsibly. Must be present in AZ. $10 minimum deposit required. Bonus bets wager excluded from returns. New customers only. 21 plus only. Times limits, minimum odds, and terms and conditions apply. In-app only. Void where prohibited.
Since you've been out here, Gil, have you had a good, true margarita yet?
I don't know if I have.
You got to get one. You got to do it with our friends at Casa Amigo.
Okay.
You're gonna love what they bring to the table. I mean, World Cup's coming up, and everybody needs a good drink while you're watching soccer. Take that as you need. And you can. But the nice thing about margaritas is they bring your friends and fans and frenemies together, and we know on this program we got all three of them. So together, one Casa Amigo margarita at a time. No matter who you're supporting, you can say cheers with Casa Amigo margaritas. I enjoy them. My wife is a connoisseur of the margarita. She loves the Casa Amigos as well, and it's what I have to get for her. It's not the cheap stuff. You get the good stuff when the missus wants a marg. So it's made with these simple ingredients: Blanco tequila, lime juice, and natural flavors. They're sure to rival any of your favorite hangout spots. Uncork, pour over ice, and garnish with lime. It is spectacular. Casa Amigos, the drink of the World Cup. Whether you're at your favorite spot or stocking up for home, make it Casa Amigos.
Let's have some fun here to round out the final regular season show at 3 p.m. for PHNX Suns. We'll get to Otle here momentarily. First, we do have a super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Richard. We appreciate you always being in here and dropping your questions. With $4.99 super chat, he says, if you guys had the choice, do you re-sign Colin Gillespie or Jordan Goodwin? What do you think the Suns will do? So let's live in a world where it has to be one or the other. The Suns do not have the money to retain both. Who do you go with, re-signing Jordan Goodwin at whatever price you think he fetches, or Colin Gillespie at whatever price you think he fetches?
Jordan Goodwin. But that's with the assumption that if Colin's not being re-signed here, it's because somebody is paying him an exorbitant amount of money, where Jordan, you're going to get at a decent contract. It does all the little things. Has been the heart and soul of the defense. And for selfish reasons, we'd have to retire the blue collar boy award. And I'm not ready for that.
We wouldn't have to retire it. I will say that.
Call it the Jordan Goodwin Memorial Blue Collar Bowl.
No, it'll just be blue collar boy award. That's all. It'll just remain the same. I think you have to bring back Colin if you can only choose one. And it's because Colin is the mainstay. Colin is the piece that's helped you bridge the gap and give you an example of, for other role players that come in, if you buy in and you give your all to what it is the coaches are demanding from you, this is the type of route to success you could potentially have with the Suns. I asked Brian Gregory about that when he was made available in February after the deadline. And he said that's exactly what they value Colin Gillespie as, the piece that gives them a little bit of proof of concept. They didn't really have any coming from last season's iteration to this season with all of the changes, but he was the one piece that did give them at least a little bit of that. That's why they bought into him with the contract they extended. If you bring him back, you get to keep on with that trajectory, but you also have somebody again that also just he's valuable to the fan base at this point, and people have really embraced him. And I feel like he shows a lot of the things that are also blue collar, even if he doesn't have the bluest collar.
Pains me to say it, but
what you think it did to me?
If you know,
think about the others.
I can hear it in your voice.
Think about the
others.
We made him shank his own guy there.
This man said marriage at first sight to a goody free throw tip-in layup yesterday, and now
that is so true. I forgot about that.
Not even 24 hours ago.
Yeah, but I was going to say,
sucks, dude.
having to choose, I think that I would have to choose Colin if you have to choose between those two guys. I think Goody is a one of one. We have one of none. You could even say we've established that and we've seen that, but easier is not the right word. But I do think that you can go and try to find somebody else that fits that archetype. He's not going to be Jordan Goodwin, but you can get somebody that has those qualities. But then when you have a homegrown talent who plays the way the game the way Colin plays it, the familiarity he has with the system, and also the rapport he has with Oso, all of those things you cannot really put a value on, and it's really important for the future of this franchise.
I think the brutal part is these are both players that other franchises have given up on, and you brought them in, gave them a home, and you've helped them establish how good they are. So letting them go to another franchise after picking them up is going to hurt. The playoffs will determine this question for me. If Colin Gillespie defensively can hang in the playoffs, if his shooting sustains in the playoffs, then I think to me it's Colin Gillespie, no question. If it gets to the point where Colin Gillespie is getting targeted every time that he's on the court in the playoffs, if he goes through a three-point shooting slump when the team is, in need of it the most, it might get to the point, like you said, Espo, where that contract is going to be a little too much. I think Colin's a fantastic player. I think Jordan's a fantastic player. I think Colin gets paid more than Jordan Goodwin this summer. But if Colin has a good playoffs, then it's Colin, no question, because he gives you some flexibility as well offensively. Richard with another super chat, 189. Thank you, Richard. Says, hey, Eric, your thoughts on the U of A blowout? Well, God, it couldn't have happened to a better school, huh? I mean, geez, you hate to see it.
How did Bobby and the boys do in the
So
tournament?
I said this on the ASU show. I'll say this really quick. I am not the type of ASU fan that's going to dunk on U of A for losing in the Final Four, because I thought it was pathetic when U of A fans dunked on ASU for losing in the college football playoffs. It's like, what are you doing with your football team at the moment? So I'm not that type of guy. I will just say I took immense pleasure in watching them lose. That was nice. Let's get to our final part of the show. It's a little Otle. Let's go. Woo! Let's get high off some Otle, baby. Reigning champion Steven all the way down in last place at 0. I, of course, in a rousing third place with 1 point. Gil, just like our betting competition, has joined and now is in the lead at 7 points. And Espo right on his tail with 6 points. Of course, if you don't know what Otle is, our man behind the Mac making all the magic happen, the Freckled Mamba, has a little trivia game. Freckled Mamba, why don't you tell them how we play Otle?
Otle is maybe the simplest trivia game that you could possibly come across. It is about any Phoenix Suns player at any time in the history of the Phoenix Suns. I'll say that again. It could be anybody who has ever put on a Phoenix Suns jersey for even a second. It starts with 4 questions. The first will be the hardest, going down easier. And as you can see here, Gil's in first place. The highest score wins. You guys ready to get going?
Yes. Just so people are aware, am I able to catch them today? Do we have 2 questions? 1 question?
So there's 2 questions today, and not only is this the regular season finale for our live show, but this is the season 2 finale of Otle. So a champion will be crowned today.
Steven can win if he gets.
Steven can win.
Two.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Let's hide the chat. Put your devices away, gentlemen.
Yeah. Yes,
Let me
sir.
not choke like I did in the free throw competition.
Brutal.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, Gil, you got 7 points, man. You got a 7-point lead.
You just got to get one.
You got a 7-point
You
lead.
gotta pick
bro.
up one win, man.
7-point lead, bro.
I'm curious if Ayrton changed
light
the,
work, man. That's a
the
layup.
meta from the college question first, considering how Gil swept that up last time. Let's see.
Well, question number 1. In my sophomore season of college, I averaged 16.4 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, 1.3 steals per game. All of this was done in 31.1 minutes per game.
Sean Marion.
It is not Sean Marion.
That's a good guess, though.
Jason Kidd.
Incorrect.
Quinn Richardson.
Incorrect.
Going last is a good move because you had everybody else guess, and that eliminates some players.
That's true.
Steven, you got to get this one.
Colin Gillespie.
It is not Colin Gillespie.
Ooh.
Our next question. I was drafted in 2012 to an Eastern Conference team. I averaged 6.4 points per game, 2.0 rebounds per game, 0.7 assists per game, all in 73 games as a rookie.
This one's tough.
Alfred Payton.
No, he wasn't drafted.
Incorrect.
Oh
I'm just trying to think of Eastern Conference.
I will
Yeah.
say that Chad is beating around the bush. They haven't gotten it
They
yet,
haven't
but
gotten it
I
yet.
can tell that someone's got it.
Someone's figuring it out.
man. 2012 draft.
Class. 2012 draft class.
So number one pick was
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. That doesn't help me with the rest of this. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm thinking too hard.
You got anything, Steven?
Not at the moment.
I will say, remember that you can punt if you don't know. But this is the last round, so try and get as many points as you can.
Those are such like maybe the worst stats to average as a rookie because they're not bad enough to be like, oh, this guy like never played, but they're not good enough to be like, wow, a memorable rookie season in 2012.
Okay, so it wasn't.
I wish I was a draft guy. I don't remember the 2012 draft. This is great podcasting.
Yeah,
I know there's somebody screaming at their phone right now.
for who the answer obviously is. I had a guess, but he didn't go to college, so I had to get away from that.
You got 10 seconds on the clock.
Oh boy.
Throw at anybody. I mean, what is there, 60 guys from a draft?
2012 draft class, is it Miles Plumlee?
Incorrect.
When was he drafted?
Draft class. I'm going to say.
All right, I need answers.
Gerald Green.
It is not Gerald Green.
I know it's not him. I'm just gonna say. Well, he wasn't even 2012. It was 2011. But I'll just say Bismarck Biyombo. I know it's not.
It is not Bismack Biyombo. Moving on for 2 points.
Brutal. We're done.
In my 11-year NBA career, I played for 3 teams. I was a member of the Phoenix Suns for only one of those years.
11-year NBA career. So they retired in 23, the 23-24 season, because they played the
Trevor Ariza.
It is not Trevor Ariza.
Oh, that's a good
although that
pull.
is a good guess.
Yeah, that's a good pull. 11-year NBA career. 3 teams.
2012.
He played for 4 teams.
Oh, we still play for 3 teams.
Man, this is brutal.
This is good. This is good stuff right here.
Yeah, this is good stuff. I mean, it's brutal because now I can't win.
It's wrong. I have no idea. Bradley Beal.
It is not Bradley Beal.
These are for 2 years, right? Yeah.
I mean, his career did end in 2023.
That's fair.
It is. And I will give you also another tidbit. His career ended with the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, in 23-24 ended with the Suns?
We got 10 seconds on the clock.
I think I know.
Oh my God, no, I'm blanking. I'm at the punt.
5.
Oh man, 23-24, who retired?
I'm punting.
3,
Punting.
2, 1.
I have two guys that I think.
Oh, this sucks.
We're moving on for 1 point. I won the 2013 dunk contest
Oh,
as a
Terrence
Toronto Raptor.
Wow.
Oh man,
It is Terrence Ross, the high flyer.
I didn't think about him retiring after that season. Yeah, he was a bucket here. Playoff starter Terrence Ross, by the way.
I thought he played for more than 3 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
That
He
Eric-
never crossed my mind.
Wow.
because of that one.
Okay,
Eric
so
shooting up the
resounding-
leaderboard.
So the best I can do is tie Espo. So Gil, unless Espo gets this,
Oh shit.
Gil
Oh
wins.
shoot. This is big right here.
Anybody but Espo gets this, Gil wins.
Don't fumble, Gil.
All right,
1
here we
point,
go.
man, no pressure.
The
No
final
sweat.
Otle of season 2. In my final college season, I averaged 15.6 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, a steal, all in 38 career games.
Wesley Person.
Incorrect.
Colin Gillespie.
No, he had more rebounds.
You sure?
It
Is
is
it Colin? Oh!
Colin Gillespie.
Let's go.
Wow!
All right. Now, if only you pulled off the first one, it would have been
Hey.
the greatest comeback
Hey.
in all history.
And that's
I'm just,
that's,
I'm just glad
that's
to get on the board.
the 38 games is a good one because like that means you went like to like the Natty. He didn't play that long, so it was like him or Book. And I was like, final season could have been like a trick for Book because he only played 1 season, but that's good.
Brutal. Now I'm in last place. That's unfortunate.
I put Stevens at 4. Eric has 2 in last place. Espo with 6. And Gil, our season 2 champion of Otle, with 7 points.
And the
We just
crowd
talked about
goes wild.
we just talked about people backing into something and getting lucky, and that's all I needed.
Back it up, Gil.
all-
You
that's all
ain't
I had to
going
do.
there.
So, Eric, you finished in last place both of the first 2 seasons?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I was in last place the first.
The first season?
I don't think so. That sounds wrong.
Yeah, finished last place in our bets.
Yeah, this all sounds wrong.
I'm just
Okay?
glad to have. I'll be able to have. I'll get to raise a
Hey,
pen and have a trophy
Erickson,
next
Erickson,
to
how
mine.
many people did we have in the first season of Otle?
So you can follow the show at man talking shit in 3rd place.
We got the
Hey,
Los
He's
Angeles
good with
Clippers
me.
of Otle fans.
He's the reason I won. He's good with me.
Hey, I hit that 3 to go down 42, but I put you out. I put you out around though.
We appreciate everybody hanging out with us for the final edition of Otle, the final 3 p.m. show of the regular season. Very big week for PHNX Suns up ahead. Starting tomorrow night, pregame, watch along, postgame show. Espo and Gil have you covered here in studio. Steven at the arena. I will also be at the arena, but I'm trying to find Kevin Durant to bury the hatchet.
Cut the shit.
So I'm going to be out and about doing that. And then, of course, we'll be back on Wednesday. And then we've got a whole lot of coverage leading up to an eventual play-in game, hopefully a playoff run. There's no better place to be than right here on PHNX Sports. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. And, of course, you follow us on socials at PHNX_Suns. You can follow the Freckled Mamba, the creator of Otle, at Freckled Mamba. You can follow Steven at Steven PG3, proudly representing 3rd place in our Otle competition. You can follow
Glad I ain't
Espo,
finished last.
who has a great t-shirt on right now that you can find at gophnx.com. At Espo, you can follow Gil at GilMcGregor_. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. We'll see you all also on Sunday for our watch party, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.